Sunday's the Injury Bowl, Giants versus Niners edition. Welcome back to the Empire State Sports Report. I'm your host, Adrianna, also known as New York Giants fangirl across social media. The podcast is brought to you by Believe Network and FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook is the number one place to make all of your sports bets, whether you're watching the World Series and want to bet on whether or not it goes to a Game 7, or you're an NFL fan like myself and you cannot wait to watch the Week 9 slate of games on Sunday. FanDuel has everything you need, but make sure to always bet responsibly. Okay, guys, this is really the Injury Bowl that we're talking about here. The Giants taking on the Niners on Sunday, and the Giants have obviously had it pretty bad this year, losing their two stars on offense to injuries, but they are not the only ones because the Niners are also riddled with injuries, and I think that might be the only opportunity that will give the Giants a chance to win this game. So let's go ahead and get into it, starting with what the offense needs to do. Now, obviously, they don't have Cameron Scattaboo. That means that Tyrone Tracy is going to be the workhorse back this week. The Giants still have Devin Singletary, who does have the capability to be used on special teams, but as much as I really want them to elevate Turbo, I don't think they're going to. And the reason I don't think they're going to do that is because from a wide receiver perspective, we have Darius Slayton back, right? Which means I think Jalen Hyatt is going to be inactive. Then we have Wan'Dale Robinson. There was a report that came out of practice that said Ray McLeod, who was on the practice squad, was getting reps with Jackson Dart and the ones and the other starting wide receivers. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to elevate Ray McLeod as the wide receiver and special teamer. They're not going to elevate Turbo, and they're not going to elevate Lil Jordan Humphrey, who has now had 3 practice squad elevations, which means that if they want to do it again, they have to sign him to the roster. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see Turbo. I hope I'm wrong about that, but I think we are going to see 2 backs. It's going to be a lot of Tyrone Tracy and a lot of Devin Singletary. Like I said, Tracy, I think, is going to get the most amount of carries here, but we need some explosivity from this running game. We have to be able to run the ball this week. Now, the Niners are obviously missing Fred Warner. They are missing Nick Bosa. Bryce Huff did not practice for 2 days in a row. One of their starting linebackers did not practice for 2 days in a row. So they are riddled with injuries, and they are down to some of their backups, just like the Giants are. But this presents a perfect opportunity for this Giants offensive line and for the run game, is they have to be able to get it going this week. The Niners haven't been amazing against the run, especially with all these injuries. So the Giants have to take advantage of it. So get Tyrone Tracy the ball and hold on to it. One of the things that the Niners are really good at on defense is forcing fumbles. They are the best in the NFL at it. And we have 2 running backs and a quarterback who unfortunately have all turned the ball over, whether it's been this season or last season. So ball security is going to be extremely, extremely important this week. Again, especially knowing that this Giants offense is dealing with some injuries here, and they're going to have to do whatever it takes to score points. So I'm excited for Tyrone Tracy. If you have him in fantasy, it's probably a good week to start him. And I think he's also going to be used in the passing game a little bit. He was a former wide receiver in college, and I think that will be used to his benefit this week. Out of the wide receivers, someone make a play and help out your quarterback. Darius Slayton, horrible drop last week. And unfortunately, it's nothing new and something that we're all used to. But if this team struggles in the run game, you have to be able to pass the ball. And that means that anyone, Wan'Dale Robinson, Ray McLeod, Darius Slayton, someone has to catch the ball. Bo Collins, make a play. It's so, so important to be able to put up points. If they don't score touchdowns in this game and they don't score a few of them, they're not going to win it. It's not even going to be close at that point. So they have to be able to put up points. So, I want to see Wan'Dale Robinson involved early. He's in the slot for a reason, but he has a lot of good capabilities. He does have some of that versatility to be used on the deep ball here and there. If you feel like you can't trust Darius Slayton, then you have to use Wan'Dale there, or you have to get Bo Collins involved, or Ray McLeod for that matter. But they really have to do a good job of spreading the ball around. And I think that starts with getting Wan'Dale Robinson involved early. And following up with that is get the tight ends involved, which I want to talk about next. Daniel Bellinger, it's not looking so great for him on Sunday. Now, I am recording this before the final injury report comes out, but Dan Duggan posted this from practice earlier today that he's not 100% sure on Bellinger because he was doing some practice outside on the side as opposed to indoors, where Art Green and Chauncey Golston were both not spotted at practice at all. So safe to say that they are definitely not playing on Sunday. And then Bellinger, again, was on the side. So if Bellinger does not play, it's a really big opportunity for Fedoni, who has the possibility to be active this year and prove this summer that he is a reliable pass catcher. And it's also a big opportunity for Theo Johnson. Now, we've talked a lot about Johnson. He's got 4 touchdowns in 3 games and was proving to feel like maybe some of those drop issues were behind him until last week. So he really has to be more consistent. That's the number one thing that Theo Johnson has to work on this year. He doesn't have the speed of some of the other guys on this team, but he's a big body target that is able to get open. And when he catches the ball, he's a really powerful weapon for someone like Jackson Dart to have. So this can be a really big game for Theo Johnson if he gets involved and makes the plays and makes the catches. So I really want to see that from Theo. The number one thing I want to see from Dart this weekend, aside from ball security, is not holding on to the ball too long. And part of that comes with the fact that the wide receivers can't get open, so they all have to improve upon that. But he held the ball way too long last week. And I did see a couple clips where there were guys open, and for whatever reason, he didn't see them or just didn't feel safe throwing the ball. He's got to be better about that this week, because even though the Niners don't have a good pass rush, they're still going to get past this offensive line if Dart holds on to the ball too long. So I really want him to be smart about things like that. So even with those injuries, this Niners defense is still ranked number 22 overall. They are 22 against the pass and 15 against the run. So again, the Giants have to be smart with the ball here, and they have to be able to open up whatever pathways they can. Now, Niners defensive coordinator Robert Saleh was very complimentary when talking about Jackson Dart and this offense and even the coaching staff, and said that Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka have done a really great job of helping out Jackson Dart. They have done that the last couple games, and we've seen it. This is the week where they really have to step that up. They have to scheme guys open, and the guys have to do their job. And my biggest complaint with this coaching staff, I mean, let's be clear, I have a lot of them, but the one that I have specifically right now is we have heard repeatedly that Brian Daboll's offense is so difficult. And the reason why it's difficult to learn is because there's so much freedom awarded to the wide receivers. And my thing is like, if you don't have plays that are set in stone, so the wide receiver runs a 15-yard route and then he either goes in and out, or he runs a 5-yard slant and goes in as opposed to going down, whatever it is, supposedly that's not the case with this offense. And the wide receiver has flexibility to either run 5 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards, or a deep ball. And I just think when you have wide receivers that are, some of them practice squad talents that we have here, like Bo Collins, you can't expect them to always be on the same page with their rookie quarterback who's also trying to learn and progress in this offense. I just feel like they're setting up certain players for failure, and I don't like that. And I think that if you're such a good head coach and you're such this offensive genius, can't you just come up with very specific plays that are going to make it easy on the wide receiver to be in the right place and be reliable for the quarterback? Like, we're not talking about a quarterback who has 15 years experience in the league. And Dart has done an excellent job. This isn't a knock on Dart. It's a reality check for the coaching staff in saying you lost your best wide receiver, and your second best wide receiver, who's now your number one, has a drop problem. And then your third wide receiver, who's your slot guy, who was not even targeted the first 3 quarters of the last game. So what are we doing? Help out your players, put them in a position to succeed. So I want to see some changes made there. And, I don't know if we're going to see it this week, but I just think that if you're supposedly this offensive genius and you have other defensive coordinators who are praising you, like, help out your own players, So I really want to see that from the offense as a whole. When it comes to the offensive line, I'm a little worried about Jermaine Illuminor. He's dealing with a pec injury that happened during the Eagles game, and that's why he left the game early at one point. And Marcus Bowe was in because he was getting a brace put on across his chest. And he said that he's used to it. He plans to play on Sunday, even though he didn't practice much during this week. And he's going to be ready to go. But he is going to be playing with this brace. And, last week, obviously, was his worst game of the year. Other than that, he's been playing pretty damn well. So I'm a little worried about that. Carmen Brasillo said that Illuminor could definitely play without practicing. So we should expect him to start on Sunday, even though, like I said, he hasn't really practiced all week. But I do have that being a little bit of a concern, is that Illuminor is not 100%. And it's fair to say that everyone at this point is not 100% in the season. But I really just want Illuminor and the rest of this offensive line, especially the interior, they have to do a good job in the run blocking, and they have to open up some holes. So we'll see. That's my plan for the offensive line and the rest of this offense. And hopefully, if they do all those things, they can win the game. But I want to move over to the defense. But first, we have to talk about FanDuel Sportsbook, the #1 sports betting app. We're in week 9 of the NFL season, and we've got some good matchup this weekend, one of them being the Vikings versus the Lions. Love a divisional rivalry here. I think this game is going to be awesome. The Lions, of course, the favorites, -450. And you guys know I love an anytime touchdown scorer. I'm obviously going Jahmyr Gibbs, -190 to be an anytime touchdown score in that game. I actually might take him to be a two touchdown scorer, because I could definitely see that happening. We've also got the Chiefs versus the Bills. This is a Sunday 425 game. We all know this is going to be a good one. I am rooting on Josh Allen and the Bills take down the Chiefs here. The Chiefs might be the favorite at -136, but the spread is only 1.5 points. I'm taking the underdog +116. Let's go Bills. Don't prove me wrong. Josh Allen and the Bills are 4-1 against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the regular season. So I'm rooting for them to go 5-1. Get all of your sports betting needs done on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Make sure to download it today and always bet responsibly. All right, let's talk about this Niners offense, because surprisingly, I don't know, maybe this isn't surprising to you guys, it hasn't done a great job this year, especially in the run, which is crazy because I haven't been able to watch all of the Niners games, but we obviously all know who Christian McCaffrey is. And just 2 weeks ago, everyone was talking about him like he should be an MVP candidate because of what he's done for this Niners team. But the reality is they are 30th in the rushing game on offense, which is crazy. So the one game where the Niners had a really strong showing on their offensive side of the ball by running the ball was when they were, of course, going against a subpar rushing defense, which was the Falcons, and they ran for almost 200 yards. So is this giving anyone flashbacks to last week? Because it is for me. So you know that Kyle Shanahan is going to watch the tape of the Giants versus Eagles and say, this run defense sucks. We are going to let Christian McCaffrey run all over them. We don't care that we have not been great against the run. We have not been great running the ball in the last couple of weeks. We're going to take advantage of the fact that they don't have a good run D. So I expect them to try to run the ball all over us. And I'm worried about that because obviously the run game has not been good. The good news is that we're going to have Javon Holland back. So that is going to help. We're going to see more of Dane Belton, which is also going to help. But, you know, the Giants suck against the run. They allowed 100 yards, over 100 yards to a backup running back last week. So one of the things that I'm trying to be optimistic about is Dexter Lawrence. He has obviously not been playing to the rate that he was playing at this time last year when he was still being double teamed last year. Now, we all know about the Carl Banks, Dexter Lawrence situation that went on earlier this week. I personally love the fact that Carl called him out. I think it was aggressive, but I think that Banks is right with part of it is that you need to play better. And look, he's not the only one. And this isn't the first time that Carl has been vocal about players. But I think it's interesting because he's gotten so much crap from Giants fans being like, you're the mouthpiece of the organization, mouthpiece. And all you do is talk about how, how this team is good and it just needs to execute and blah, blah, blah. And he's called out Tyler Nubin and a couple players, but never to the degree that he called out Dexter Lawrence. And all I have to say is I think that this is going to light a fire under Dexter's ass. And I actually think that we're going to see a much better Dexter Lawrence on Sunday. And something that is absolutely going to help that, or it should. I mean, it didn't help him last week against a backup center for the Eagles, but the Niners starting center did not practice Wednesday and Thursday. So there's a very good chance that he does not play on Sunday, which means, again, Dexter Lawrence is going to be going against a backup center. And if there's any opportunity for him this week to maul people It's this Sunday against the Niners. So I'm expecting a big game out of Dexter Lawrence. My expectations for someone like Brian Burns every week is that he has a good week because he always does. He always produces. Kayvon, I think, has been a little bit quiet in the last week or two, but ultimately he's done a decent job. I'd like to see him pick it up this week. He's someone that when he's playing well, he's really helping us against the run, and we need that from him. His tackling has also improved a lot this year. So, really hoping that he can get McCaffrey to the ground because someone's going to have to. With that being said, I want to see more of Abdul Carter. It would not surprise me if they line him up more in the off the ball linebacker position, if they line him up more as a middle linebacker next to Bobby O, or even as a defensive lineman next to Dexter Lawrence. I know that some people don't like that, and I don't disagree with you, but we need help stopping the run. If that means that they have to put Abdul Carter in that position during some snaps, then I don't think it's the worst idea. We cannot allow Christian McCaffrey to run 200 yards on us because unfortunately, there's a possibility that that could happen. And speaking of CMC and what this defense is also really going to have to do, you guys, they are number 2 in the passing game and they have no wide receivers and Mac Jones is their quarterback. Like, is that the most insane shit you've ever heard? Ricky Pearsall has not played for weeks. Kendrick Bourne, who's literally come out of nowhere, has basically been their starting wide receiver, and he doesn't even have a ton of touchdowns because their red zone efficiency has not been great. And they're not great in scoring, but they are great at, which I guess we saw last week when they couldn't beat the Texans and only put up 15 points against them, but they're great at moving the ball. The passing offense is there. And when us, the New York Giants, have no corners, this is going to be a problem for us. And I'm starting Kendrick Bourne in fantasy, and I know that, I'm going against my own team, but I'm also 0-7 in fantasy, so I got to do something to help me out. But Paulson Adebo and Cordell Flott were on the side with trainers during practice today. They did not practice with the group on Wednesday or Thursday, so it's not looking good for either one of them. And Daboll spoke to the media today and basically ruled out Flott. So our starting corners, everyone prepare yourselves for the agita that is coming on Sunday. Deonte Banks and Corey Black. Let that sink in for a second. Those are going to be our starting corners. Now, at least they're not going against Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Great. We have that going for us. But they're still going against Christian McCaffrey, who can catch the ball and who is actually top 8 in the NFL in receiving yards. Top 8 in the NFL in receiving. So he's going to be used as a pass catcher. And I'm really worried that he is just going to have an unbelievable game. So if you have Christian McCaffrey on your fantasy, dare I say, you're probably going to have a good week this week. And like I always say, I want the Giants to prove me wrong more than anything in the whole world. Prove me wrong, go out there and beat the Niners. But this is going to be a tough one. Just because they're injured, it doesn't mean that they're a bad football team. They have damn good coaches. You know that Rob Saleh is a good DC, and you know that Kyle Shanahan is really good, especially during the regular season. And there's a chance that we might see Brock Purdy on Sunday. It's still kind of up in the air right now, but Mac Jones has been playing well enough that he could probably go out there and tear up this defense at the rate that they're playing right now. So I'm really just hoping that the fire lit under Dexter's ass, along with the fact that it's all we hear about is this next man up mentality. This is your week to prove it. That goes for Ray McLeod. That goes for Devin Singletary and Tyrone Tracy. It goes for, oh my God, Tay Banks and Corey Black. Dane Belton. I mean, this is what it is, right? You can't blame everything on injuries. You have to be competitive and win football games because guess what? The 49ers have a winning record with all the injuries that they have and a backup quarterback. So it's time for the Giants to go out there, prove that they know how to play football and beat the Niners. Like I always say, there's a chance. I think they're capable. I think if they had better coaching, we'd be looking at a different year so far, and they're going against good coaching, which is going to be a problem. But they have to execute. It comes down to the players executing. The offensive line blocking, the offense not turning the ball over, the receivers making plays, catching the ball. That includes Theo Johnson. Defense, slow down the run. You don't have to stop it. You don't have to stop McCaffrey and hold him to 5 yards, but you have to slow him down. He cannot have 100 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving on us. So, especially Shane Bowen. I mean, if you want to be here next week, all I hear in the back of my head is John Mara saying, I hate watching other teams run up and down the field on us. Well, they did it last week. And if it's in back-to-back weeks, actually almost 3 weeks after the Broncos game, we're in trouble. So I think it can be competitive. It's at home, which is going to help out the Giants. There's going to be a lot of Giants fans there. So if you're going to the game, please be loud, bring the good energy, and good luck rooting for a Giants win. Let's go out there, beat the Niners, get 3 wins on the season, and maybe we can get a little momentum back. So enjoy the game, you guys. I will be back on Monday. I'll go live on Sunday at some point after the game, and we can chat. So go Giants. Thanks for listening.